afternoon and welcome to Gulfstream today. Katie Stazak here, joined by track announcer Pete Aiello. Pete, we had a pretty exciting day yesterday because we are ending up with some massive carryovers today here at Gulfstream, and the sun is shining with these carryovers up for grabs. We have a huge carryover in the Rainbow Six, more than $400,000 in the pool. We had one single alive yesterday, was not a factor in the race. The carryover lives on, and we have a carryover in the pick 5.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how that happened. I didn't think the pick 5 sequence was all that difficult. Certainly not from a standpoint of having a carryover, but who cares about why it happened? The point is it happened, and we're happy about it. We have $20,682, and the 50-cent pick 5 starts in race 6.
A double dose of carryovers today, and we have more excitement coming up tomorrow as we have an early adjusted post time. Tomorrow we'll be getting underway with a 12-race program at 12:45 p.m. This, of course, is in honor of Travers Day over at Saratoga, and you can advance wager on that entire card tomorrow at Saratoga. Right now it starts at noon. You go into Silks, and you can bet on that entire Saratoga card tomorrow. That includes the Travers, which, of course, features Triple Crown champion American Pharoah, looking to remain undefeated since his Triple Crown bid.
And it's certainly the morning line maker, and a lot of us think that it's a foregone conclusion. He's 1-5 on the morning line. A lot of times in horse racing, it's all about wagering, but I think tomorrow for the Travers, it's all about seeing a great racehorse take center stage.
Yeah, he's just incredible to watch. So let's see what else is going on around the country, and we'll take a look at that via Twitter. This is pretty cool. American Pharoah, the Zayat family announced they're going to donate a percentage of his earnings leading up to and including the Breeders' Cup Classic. So the Travers, if he races again in between the then and the Classic, a portion of that is going to go to new vocations and thoroughbred aftercare.
That's great news. Happy to see everybody giving back. Zayat's done so much for the racing business already, and he proves it yet again by donating some proceeds. It's amazing what horse ownership can do. A small story about that for me. I actually got a college scholarship that was funded very much the same way.
That's awesome. Love, love, love to see that. And we also have going on an old friend. Oh, well, we're going to go to Zayat first. More for the Zayats. Hope you can dance as well as you can ride. Victor Espinoza is going on Dancing with the Stars. Pete, odds that he takes this?
I don't know what the odds are. I'd be curious. I'd like to get some action. They said Victor Espinoza, of course, the pilot of American Pharoah. We were talking about it this morning. Victor Sanchez said it the best, but we can't repeat what he said. Point is, he can dance.
I'm going to say the odds are in his favor. And I've watched Dancing with the Stars before. There is a professional partner that is not much taller than he is. If they're matched up, it's going to be very, very good here, doing some handicapping early on Dancing with the Stars.
Well, it's always nice to see racing get in the mainframe media, and that's certainly what American Pharoah's done for the business, and I love that about it.
So, and lastly, want to wish a happy retirement to a friend of ours here at Gulfstream. Palace Malice was officially retired yesterday. What an amazing horse this was. Had he not gotten injured at the end of last year, I think he would have been your horse of the year had he kept up with the rate he was winning races early. And I will never forget his Gulfstream Park handicap win. Very, very impressive, and a really cool, versatile horse to win the Met Mile and the Belmont Stakes. That's just astonishing.
And he's a horse that they tried to bring him back, and they realized that he was not what he was when he went on the shelf, so they did right by the horse, and we're looking forward to see some prodigy of Palace Malice in the near future.
He's going to be very popular in the breeding shed, that's for sure, going to 3 Chimneys. So let's get right to our card. We have 10 races to get to, and we're going to start the day with a $16,000 claiming event. 3-year-olds and up, which have not won 2 races, are going to be going a mile on the main track. Pete and I, we both went with the same horse, and he just makes a lot of sense here. That's Royal Knowledge.
Yeah, he's making his second start off of freshening for trainer James Kirk. Came rolling last time on a horse that won that race, Tricky Call. He was also rolling in the late stages, so the pace of that last race projected him to come from off the speed. He came from well back. I will say this, now he's getting a bit longer trip to work with, the 1-turn mile. I think he'll like that, but I also think he'll lay closer than he did last time.
Completely agree with you there, Pete. We also both used the same horse on our ticket in third. That's Blackwater Charlie, but we differ on our runner-up selection. I went with the 4, Prince Harlan from the Oscar Gonzalez barn. Going to face winners for the first time, so a little bit of a question mark there. Broke his maiden going 7 furlongs on July 1st, dueled on the lead throughout, and gamely put away his competitors to win by a length and 3/4. I think he's very well spotted today. But Pete, tell me a little bit more about the 3, Creola's Boy.
Well, Creola's Boy is a horse that you're going to have to take a line and draw through that last race. He was no good at all. He was on the turf. It was against much, much better. His race 2 back was good, though. He has actually good form progression. You look at the maiden special weight race, he ran awful. He was laid up and dropped in class. He improved, and then from the second start to the third start, he improved again to win in a big way for Louis Duco. He's back to reality. Jonathan Gonzalez keeps the call, and I think that from a pace standpoint, he projects well here. He'll be able to sit close to the early pace, which I don't think will be all that fast, to be honest with you. And then the horse that we both used third, Blackwater Charlie, he will like that pace scenario if, in fact, there is no pace, because he's a horse that has really no turn of foot. If you go back and watch the race that he won, Edgar Zayas rode him from the time they got to the 3/4 pole to the time they got to the wire. So he's a grinded-out type horse. I think Prince Harlan's the same grinded-out type horse. The point of the story here in the first is it's a very tactical event.
Very tactical event, so watch how that pace scenario plays out. That'll bring us to the second race, which begins the early pick 4 today. It's a starter optional claiming event with a $35,000 tag. Fillies and Mares 3-year-olds and up, going to be going 7.5 furlongs on the turf course. And Pete, I love this mare that we are about to talk about. We both have her on top. That's a Maydell. Let's show her last race here. This is back on July 23rd. It's a similar event to this, an Allowance optional claimer. Kicks clear to a 2 1/4 length victory this day. And boy, has she just been the picture of consistency.
She sure has. And the horse that she just ran by in the Blue Silks, Wild About Jazz, came back to beat a pretty solid field of Allowance horses. And that's Holiday Stroll running on the outside to be 4th that afternoon. So it was a solid field. It was a better field last time than she faces here today. And strictly from a pace scenario, she looks beautifully set up here, because you have a lot of stretch out speed here, and you have horses like Will to Shine that have always had a quick first gear. So for me, she's a strong play in this race.
I couldn't agree more. She's won 4 of her last 8 starts. I just love her, always runs her race. Who can beat her? We obviously, it's a little bit more wide open behind that. I went with the 4, Will to Shine, who you mentioned. Should appreciate the class relief today. She's made her last 3 starts in stakes. She could be the controlling speed, but if the turf course continues to play like it has, it is going to set up better for a horse like Maydell. But she'll try to steal it, and she's a 5-time winner at the distance. What about the 5, Done One?
Oh, well, what about her? She's kind of interesting to me. She's not really showed up this year as well as I thought that she would. She got really, really good last year. You could have had this filly cheap at the middle of last summer. She was in for maiden, I want to say 16, not very much. And she won, and she got really, really good. She ended up trying stakes competition and did fairly well in that. She ran a huge second 2 starts ago to Best Behavior, who's a stakes winner for Marty Wolfson, and then got on the turf last time out in a stake and didn't run any good. Now gets to return to Allowance foes here this afternoon. I think she's better than her last race. 3rd start of a bit of a freshening. I like her at a bit of a price. I was trying to get a price on the back end of Maydell, who will be favored.
Yeah, gotta love it. Once those horses break their maiden, sometimes the light bulb just goes off and they can really improve their form. A classic case there. So let's move on to race number 3. This is a $6,250 claimer. Fillies and Mares 3-year-olds and up, going to be going a mile on the main track. Here we're a little bit different. I went with the 6, Secret Memory, but Pete, you went with the 3, Reelected.
Yeah, well, I think Secret Memory is the horse to beat in here, and I think she probably wins the race. But for me, it's a bad karma move, claiming horses off of George Handy. George is a veteran horseman that we are so well endeared to here at South Florida. Marcial Navarro claims his horse out of the last race, Secret Memory. She doesn't need to improve at all, and certainly you think Marcial is going to improve on her, as he improves on pretty much everything. So she's going to be a strong favorite, and I just tried to go against her on the bad karma angle there.
So tell me what you like about this one and reelected?
Well, reelected last time out, she got in a little bit of a pace duel. They went a stiff half mile to 47 seconds that afternoon. Stalked the pace, made a move to the front. I don't think that she wants to do that. I think she wants to sit closer to like a 48-second half mile. Again, I don't see a ton of speed in here. Honey Bunny Boo Boo on the stretch out will probably make the pace, but reelected will stalk from the outside under Eddie Castro. I think she gets first run on horses like Secret Memory because I think she has more natural speed than horses like Secret Memory, and then a horse like Bahia de Oro, who we both used, she's a complete victim of the pace.
Yeah, you touched on Secret Memory. Really doesn't have to improve a lot, but you mentioned Marcial Navarro. He's just been lethal first off the claim. I couldn't go against it. I especially love that with the claim they're keeping the same rider in the irons and Harry Hernandez. But Bahia de Oro, we both used her. Louis Duco trainee, going to look for back-to-back wins at this level. Drew off by almost 5 lengths on August 2nd. She will be coming late, but here's what I found a little bit interesting and why I couldn't put her higher. Duco, 0 for 38 with horses that won their last start.
Yeah, and like I said, she's a huge victim of the pace. For me, she's the best of the rest in this race, but I like your assessment there. Lethal. That's a perfect description of Marcial Navarro off the claim.
So let's try to find more in the 4th race. This is a $20,000 claimer. 3-year-olds and up, which have not won 2 races in life, going to be going a mile. We're back on the turf course here. Scratch the 3, Wisemaker. That's going to leave us with 6. Pete, we both use the same horses in 2nd and 3rd, but we have completely different horses right on top of the ticket. Tell us about the 5, and I know you really like this horse today.
Yeah, this is one of my more assertive plays of the afternoon. 6-1 on the morning line. We've talked about it on the program before. In fact, you and I have talked about this horse on the program before. She's trouble prone. He's trouble prone, I should say. He gets himself in trouble, but he's been freshened up since a couple of subpar efforts the last 2 times. Here's the scenario here. Your horse, British Glory, will absolutely get acquainted with the 4 Smoke Police. Now, the question is, British Glory's been able to rate a little bit in those last couple races. Smoke Police doesn't rate at all. He tugs until he gets to the front. Then you have the West Virginia Invader in excessiveness for trainer Jenna Antonucci. In my opinion, if this horse is live, this horse will be on or near the pace. And you have War Ready, who stalked the pace last time out. Wisemaker's out, as you touched on. So I think Dance of Freedom will be able to rally from well off the speed. You already touched on it a little bit. The turf course has got a little cut in the ground. It's not by any means off. It just is different than it has been the last couple of weeks. I think that bodes well for Dance of Freedom. I'm going to go from the outhouse to the penthouse and the race number 4 today.
And a nice value there at 6-1 on the morning line, and gets a Misael Jaramillo in the irons, who's been riding very well as of late. I did go with the 1 British Glory. This horse just always seems to run his race, but just miss. He was 4th, beaten only a neck for the show, dueled on the lead last time out on August 7th, but I do like what you mentioned. He's shown a little bit more of an ability to rate. He hit the board in each of his previous 6 starts, and I think he's well spotted. And again, like you mentioned, the only other big speed I think is Smoke Police that's really going to be on there, so we'll see how that plays out and if British Glory can break through. But again, watch the pace scenario and see if you can find some value there.
Yeah, I think Inaccessiveness holds the key to this race, because Inaccessiveness' only victory was in Southern California going 2 turns, but he was on the engine that afternoon, gets back on the turf in a South Florida debut. That's the wild card in this race.
And he should be sharp for this because he turned in a bullet in his first work here. He went 4 furlongs in 47-3 last week. So that'll bring us to the Rainbow 6. This is race number 5. It's a maiden special weight. 3-year-olds and up will be sprinting 6 furlongs on the main track. Mentioned Rainbow 6 carryover, more than $419,000. I think we're going to be reaching well over $500,000 today. And I want to talk about this horse first. We both used him, and this is Tis My Way. I'm very excited about him debuting for trainer Ralph Nix. This is a full brother to Tis Way, a $1.3 million earner. We mentioned Palace Malice won the Met Mile. This horse also won the Met Mile and showed his versatility in stretching out to 1 1/8 miles and winning the Whitney. This horse, he is making his career debut at 4, but I think with that pedigree, it was worth the wait. They took his time with him, and he's been training pretty sharply here. So I'm excited about this horse.
Not only has he been training sharply, he's been training for a while now. He was up in Ocala at the Goldmark Farm. They were just kind of taking it easy with him, and they gave him to Ralph. He got down here. Ralph has taken his time with this horse. The horse kind of reminds me a little bit of a Treatise. I think there's a lot of talent there. The breeding set says he should be very, very good. So they're just trying to take their time with him because they know that the ability is there.
Pete referencing a very talented multiple stakes winner here at Gulfstream for the Marty Wolfson Barn and Atreides. Loved that colt. And yesterday, Nix has two entrants in here, and you picked yesterday the horse with Tyler Gaffalione, that one. I'm taking that here today. What about the other one, Honor Earned?
Honor Earned is a horse making his second start off a pretty extended vacation. Actually, it's his first start off of vacation. He was freshened up last time out. That didn't work. He ran second to a couple of nice horses. He's actually second, beaten 4 lengths to Made from Lucky. Nothing wrong with that. That race certainly would win this. The question is he ready off the shelf? As we touched on, if you're using the jockeys as an indication of that, you have the live horse on the 6. Interestingly enough, Walter Blum has both of the jocks in Jesus Rios and Gaffalione. He puts Gaffalione on the 6, Rios on the 2. I think that Honor Earned, this is a let me see one, and then I'll jump on the bandwagon.
Anyone else you like here?
5, GPS is intriguing to me. Ramsey Zimmerman rides this horse is by Candy Ride out of a Stormy Atlantic mare. I think this horse is probably bred to do a little bit of longer work, but debuts for trainer Michelle Nevin, and Ramsey Zimmerman has the call. Just like Tis My Way, has a lot of local workouts, and I think this horse does have some ability. Not sure that he's quite as precocious, though, as a horse like Tis My Way.
So you might want to go a little bit deeper in this opening leg of the Rainbow Six, unless you really love Tis My Way, which I do, but still a little bit unproven is the point. So we'll move on to the 6th race, and if you decide to single one in race number 5 and you're out of the Rainbow Six, we have a great carryover in the pick 5, more than $20,000, almost $21,000, and this 6th race is a $10,000 claimer, 3-year-olds and up, going a mile on the main track. Scratch the 2 and the 3. I ended up on the 4-horse Cadillac Charm. So did you, Pete.
Yeah, but here's the thing about this race. This race, from a track announcer perspective, from a racing fan perspective, I love this. And it makes it even better that they scratched Keener Veloz and Ooz and Oz, because you have 5 of, without a doubt, some of the most honest, hard-knocking horses. They switch barns, they get claimed, they move around. All 5 of these horses have a huge, huge chance in here. Any case you make for Cadillac Charm, you could make for Palatine Hill. Any case you make for a Fleet Accompli, you could make for Valid Concept. And then Chillin' Dillon just fires every time. So I love the competitiveness of this race, and I will be punching the all button and rooting for everybody in here. This should be a good one.
That's a great angle to take. Cadillac Charm, he's going to make his first start off the claim today. Another for Marcial Navarro. Finished a well-meant 3rd off a 7-week layoff. Harry Hernandez keeps the mount. Again, like Pete mentioned, he's been a very popular claim over the past year and is running some tougher races. But, gosh, you could say that about every single one of these horses.
Look at this. Between the 2 of us, we have all 5.
That's a great point right there. So we'll leave it at that. All these horses are worth rooting for. We'll move on into the 7th race, and this is a $16,000 maiden claimer. 2-year-old's going to be sprinting 6 furlongs on the main track, and I think your single is right here in this late pick 4 and in your Rainbow 6. Let's take a look back at the last start from a horse that I used not on top. We're going to get to this unquestionable single, I think, here in just a sec. Here's Thoristic, who might give you some value lower on your ticket and exacta trifecta. This horse did not have a good start literally last time out. Stumbles, completely slammed, cut off. No chance, this poor horse. Not the best start last time out. He does end up finishing 5th. He's moved up 4th via DQ. Tyler Gaffalione's going to keep the mount. I think this is one that certainly can improve with a better trip.
Yeah, you can't argue with that. His stablemate Tip and Joe was 4th right in front of him. He also got in trouble. In fact, it's pretty bad if you're Mary Leitner and you run 2 horses in the same race and one of them gets knocked into the other and they both clip heels. That's never a good day at the office.
So let's talk about this horse here, Judge Hudson, drop into the maiden claiming ranks today for the first time for trainer Michelle Nihei.
Well, what is there to say? Even money on the morning line. My strong opinion is watching the last race and, frankly, endorsing Judge Hudson in the monetary in the wallet last time. He didn't like the going. He wasn't a fan of it. He wasn't comfortable. I don't really think that this horse is out of the realm of possibility of going long. So the cutback is just somewhat of irrelevant for me. I think the horse just didn't take to the grass. Now the horse is plunging in class after running 3rd 2 starts ago to Cajun Shill. Speaking frankly, I think they're trying to get this horse to the winner's circle, and I think they found a good spot to do that today.
And like we mentioned earlier, here could be a horse that wins at this level and then steps right back up once he figures things out.
Very good point.
So let's move on to the 8th race, because I think there is your top selection right there in Judge Hudson. This is the last pick 3 of the day. It's a $16,000 claimer, 3-year-olds and up, which have not won 3 races, or 3-year-olds. Going to be going a mile on the turf course. Scratch the 2, the 7, and the 10. Here's another horse that I think is just unquestionably the horse to beat here in Havermeyer Street. Look at the conditions of this race. It's for non-winners of 3 or 3-year-olds. Here's a 3-year-old. Not only has he won 3 races, he's won 4, Pete.
Well, and here's a horse, so you were talking about it earlier with the maidens, that wins and gets good. This horse wasn't a maiden when he won his non-winners of 2, but he sure has got good. He's won 3 in a row. I'm not one to take horses to win 4 in a row, but I'm doing it, and I'm doing it with a reasonable amount of confidence here. 2 of these horses' 3 wins have come with cut in the turf course. Granted, they're all listed as firm, and by and large, I'm sure it was, but there was still cut in the ground. There was rain earlier in the day, and there was rain yesterday. We'll have to see if that rain has stuck around long enough for that turf course to be the same type deal. But the point of the story is Havermeyer Street has his course, and from a pace standpoint, he has some pace to run at, and jockey Luca Panici, very good from off the speed on turf. I like him here for 4 in a row, fans. I think he has a good shot to do it.
He's won at 7.5. He's won in a mile. He's won in a mile and his 16th during his win streak. Very versatile. Definitely the horse to beat here. I also used the 5, so did you, Thunder and Willie. This one's from the Kathleen O'Connell barn. Was a winner at this level last time out and has finished 1st or 2nd in each of his 3 starts since dropping to this level in May. I think he's very alive here, but does have the odds against him going up against Havermeyer Street. Pete, you also used the 8. That's Metz.
Yeah, repeat winner for all the marbles last time out. Metz is the best of the rest for me. I like Havermeyer Street here, folks. I think he's a very live play. If you can get the morning line of 7-2, singling Judge Hudson and then using Havermeyer Street here, you might have a very affordable pick 5 ticket.
Yes, and go a little bit lighter in those 2 races. It allows you to go deeper in some of those tougher races like Pete mentioned earlier when he's going all. So that'll bring us to the 9th race. It's an allowance with an optional claiming tag of $16,000. Fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up.
We don't have to go deep in here at all.
No, don't have to go deep at all. Fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, going to be going a mile on the main track. Scratch the 1, Midnight Dream. I really like the 5, Elusive Harmony, in here. So does Pete. We're in complete agreement. We also both use the 4, Miss Away, and I want to show you her last race because I think she's worth a little bit of value in here. 7-2 on the morning line, deservingly so. She has nowhere to go in this last race.
How happy are you, though, if you're Panici? You got a quarter of a mile to try to get out, and you know you're on the best horse. He gets her out at about the 3/16. And the horse that's on the inside for Marty Wolfson that afternoon, Liberty Road, was the favorite. Miss Away off a very, very long layoff. Ready to go for trainer Ruben Monges and kicks clear to beat Evelyn's Dream for Ralph Nix and then Liberty Road. Love the way that horse won the last time out. Does she bounce? I don't know, but that's the one key concern with Miss Away. Otherwise, it's Elusive Harmony and Miss Away, and move to the 10th and hope you have enough bankroll to get deep in the 10th.
Yeah, came off a 14-month layoff in that race, and I literally have written here, will she bounce off that kind of effort? That's the question here, and I think that might decide the winner of this race. But the 5, Elusive Harmony, she returned from a much, much shorter 7-week freshening to finish 3rd, only beaten a length and 3/4 by some we mentioned earlier, Best Behavior in an upper-level allowance. That broke a 2-race win streak. I think she finds a great spot today, and what a statistic, 7 for 9 at this distance, and not in the money, in wins.
Yeah, the only concern about Elusive Harmony, there's one chink in her armor, and that's Simplistic on her outside. Simplistic does her best work on the lead. Elusive Harmony does her best work on the lead. That's a tactical decision that Harry Hernandez is going to have to make early.
The 10th and final race on today's card is a $12,500 maiden claimer. Fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, which have not won 2 races, going to be going 5 furlongs on the turf course. This is the super high 5 race of the day. Scratch your MTO Spring Me. Eddie Dominguez is on the 11. Let's quickly take a look back at the race from the horse that I put on top of my ticket. Pete used in 3rd. That is I.
She had a bad run of it down the backside. She's actually going to check right as we cue the video there. She's in tight, having to shuffle back a little bit. This is her first start off of freshening. It's her first start in South Florida. And if we keep going, she's going to have no place to go. Stop cold at the 8th pole. Rios ends up finding room between horses and gets up to for second in a very, very close photo. Here's III down toward the inside. When we get further along in the race or get to the 8th pole, Katie, you'll see it. II's got no place to go, buried behind the top 3. Does shake loose late to get up for second.
I thought this was a great effort, and Kristen Mulhall has won with 3 of her 5 starters at this meet, 60% spot in the run as well, so that's why I had to take this horse here.
There you go. Rios just finally finds room there, gets up.
So, Pete, you use this horse, but you put someone else on top, so make a case for me.
Starlet Malibu. She came in here from Woodbine. She was off the van. I hate that. I think horses, especially if they're coming from a colder climate, even though it's summertime, from Toronto to Florida, they need to acclimate themselves to the humidity, if nothing else. She gets to go back on the turf. She was huge in her race on Woodbine in her debut on the turf. I think that she's one of 2 horses in here that has a huge chance to make the lead and say bye-bye. The other one is the 4 El Prado Rose. She showed excellent early speed in her debut against special weights. She drops all the way to the bottom here and gets on turf. But her speed in the debut was good enough for me to use her. The question is, who gets in front of who, the 4 or the 9?
I think that's an excellent angle. Horses shipping in from a much colder climate. It's very difficult to do and sometimes takes a race. So that's a handicapping angle you might want to play this summer. But that's going to do it for this card. Pete and I giving you plenty of options for today's carryovers in the Rainbow 6 and the Pick 5. Pete's going to be back on in just a minute to update you on any other changes we have for this card, and I will see you before the first race. Thanks for watching, and good luck, everyone.